Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a overview of season 1 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. That's right. As of the recording of this video, we have wrapped up 10 episodes. I did a review for the first when the first few came out, but I wasn't gonna follow this weekly. Although they came out very quickly. We got like 4 different batches, and that was it. But I like it. I like the pacing of this animated show. So let's talk about it. There's a lot of things that I enjoy here. We have some great voice performances, like Coleman Domingo as Norman Osborn is probably one of the standouts. I really, really loved it. I'm still wrestling with Peter. Like sometimes he sounds like Tom Holland, sometimes he doesn't. I don't really know what the direction was for the voice performer, so that's still something that kind of lingered throughout the season. I talked about that in my original review. But what I really love the most about the show is how deep into the lore of Spider-Man we like. The fun thing about the show is that you can just watch this as a new person going into Spider-Man, not really knowing anything. Maybe you know a little bit about him in the MCU. Maybe you read a comic or watched some cartoon back in the day, and you could just jump in and just dive into this world. It's fully open, full of possibilities. They make some fun changes to Peter's character, whereas like he's not a loner at school. He's actually has friends and he's a little charismatic, and of course he still gets into shenanigans. But like overall, he's not a loser in school. Like he's not one of the people that are kind of like just put out there. He is in there. Uh, he has like I just really like that change in the story. Of course, this is a little bit of feels a little bit of MCU continuity, right? He lives with May, who looks still like Marissa Tomei's character, and there's always throughout the season there's little hints or recreations of events that happen in the MCU, but eventually they veered off into its own direction, and I think it was for the best. I think the supporting cast for Peter was great. Nico Minari, just an amazing, amazing addition as Peter's best friend. We also have who eventually becomes Tombstone. Uh, Lonnie, like he's a great character, and each one of these characters, each one of these side characters, gets a little bit of time. So this is not just Peter's show. This is about everyone around Peter. You know, like his relationship with Harry, his relationship with Norman Osborn, all the villains that kind of come into play, like the big ones. We have some really fun appearances, right? We have the Scorpion, who's been updated. We have Dr. Otto Octavius, who's also in the background, and I think he's going to be kind of the big bad for the next either next season or just throughout the whole series. And then of course Peter just gets into shenanigans. We have some deep cuts like bringing in the unicorn, like that's a villain I hadn't even thought about in I don't know years, and it's really really cool. Now, one of the things that still was a little bit of an issue for me was the animation. I've talked about that from the beginning. It's a little bit it's a new style, right? It's kind of like, to me this felt sometimes like a motion comic, which I don't mind. I like motion comics, but there's a lot of very uh, static panels. There's a little bit of like the characters don't really flow all the time. There are some really cool sequences with fights and action sequences that you can really tell like the animators went to town. I think it's just more about getting used to this style of animation, that it is supposed to evoke that comic book feeling, especially when they do some really cool, like they do paneling and stuff like that as well, which is really really fun. I think Peter's arc is great. You know, like he gets these powers, and the way they kind of loop everything back around to the last episode is just fantastic. They set up some really fun mysteries for next season. We know I think this show's gonna get at least 3 seasons that I'm aware of. Um, I love seeing Peter in the different suits and just kind of all the little throwbacks. There's the little callback to the Identity Crisis comic book that Peter had, where he went through a few different costumes and stuff like that. Um, and overall, it's just a really fun show. Like if you're a fan of Spider-Man, you're gonna be very well rewarded with the show. If you're a fan of the Marvel MCU universe, you're gonna see a lot of things that look very familiar, and then some things that just look very different. So, yeah, I think this is a really fun show. Now that it's all out, I hope people that have been holding off go in and just kind of watch it and binge it, because the thing I love about the release in batches was that I enjoyed going in, watching a few, and then just taking a little break, because I love Spider Man, but it felt like hey, I'm gonna read a few issues of a comic and then take a little break and then we'll come back to the story. But you get a full arc. You get so many things set up for the future as well. And some things that may not even pay off. Like there's some really deep callbacks. There's some really cool cameos of characters. And maybe we'll do a separate video just like talking about everyone that was in this show. But man, oh man, I had such a good time with this one. I highly recommend it. It is perfect for any age. Like the little kids can enjoy it, and it's just Spider-Man doing shenanigans. Like I said, this version of Peter feels like so much fun. And then there's all these other mysteries, like, and there's still like there's sad moments. There's moments that you kind of have to go sit back and think about, but you don't have to, right? It's just like how much do you want to enjoy the show? How deep do you want to dive into the lore of the show? Um, yeah, I don't know what else to tell you other than this show is fantastic. It exceeded my expectations. I don't know what I was expecting from the show, but it was definitely not this. I love the intro. It's like an all-out banger. Like it's just a great song. And yeah, like the story, where we're going, all the little things that I've set up. Like I know some of the things that are coming just because I'm a longtime Spider-Man reader, a longtime Spider-Man fan, but I'm still surprised at every turn. Like there was a big surprise in the last episode that I was like, "There's no way they just did this." Like it really kind of blew my mind how they kind of brought something all the way back from episode one, and you're like, wow, this like I don't know the logic behind it. I don't know if it fully works, and I'm sure there's gonna be 1,000 YouTube videos about it trying to explain it how it goes. Um, and then the thing they do at the end, there's not really an end credit scene. There's no end credits, but the thing they do at the end, they do something that I don't think I've ever read on a Spider-Man story. Like they introduce a character, they change something in Peter's lore and background that I don't know that I've ever read as a comic book reader, and I'm very interested to just pull on that thread and see where they want to go. So highly recommend you check this out. It is all out now on Disney Plus, so make sure to go take a look. And if you've seen this show, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned because we have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.